Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Your pushback channel. Thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the difference between, in current sort of, if you like, recruitment, human resource policy, certainly that we're seeing as we get around, the difference between how a white job applicant and a non-white job applicant is treated through the human resource system. Now, bear in mind that the human resource departments are now dedicated to, they're stacked with activists or people, mostly women who've known nothing but activist education. You know, we're surrounded by Nazis and white supremacists are everywhere, this sort of thing. And they genuinely believe, because their IQs are not high, these people, they genuinely believe that their mission in the HR department isn't to hire qualified people or to, you know, administer the payroll or something. Their job is to fight Nazis. It is to fight back against the fucking fascist, fucking white supremacists, fucking Nazis. And these Nazis are everywhere. So the snot-nosed little shithead girlie in HR, her job is to fight the Nazis. That's what it is. But surely it must be to hire the most qualified person for the company and for the benefit of the shareholder. No, it's to stop the Nazis. Little girlie have tantrums, stamp feet, kick legs in there. So when we look at the affirmative action process of hiring unqualified black and brown people, and this could be, you know, this job is we have to allocate this job to a brown female or something like that. You know, whatever the quota system of the day is, and also there's quite a movement to make sure that the more prestigious jobs are given to unqualified black and brown applicants. So it's not simply a matter of overall numbers, but you know, at the director level, vice president level, you know, these sorts of things, senior vice presidents, very much a case now. We want to make sure that it's not so much they want the black and brown person to get the job, they want to make sure that it's the white person who does not get the job. That seems to be more of the issue as we go around. And we sit quiet, not get the job. That seems to be more of the issue as we go around. And we sit quietly in rooms. Well, the reason we come across this is that frequently the projects we're involved in are held up while somebody new is hired into this or that role. And so because of that, we get to see who gets hired into the role. But on top of that, the people we deal with day to day, we sort of look at the quality of these people and you know, do they know what they're doing? Are they even remotely qualified to be doing this job? It's inconceivable that they could have got the job in any form of merit. So it must have been a quota. And that really, more and more, we think that certainly by my observation at least, that many candidates now are being picked from the, if you divided sort of all the applicants into the top quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, you know, the bottom quarter, that the applicants or successful applicants are being appointed from the bottom quarter. It certainly seems that way. And, you know, there must be better qualified people than that out there. I refuse to believe that there are so, you know, that everyone is so unqualified that someone who has no qualifications or expertise or credentials would get a plum job that pays well and is quite prestigious. But there's this idea of let's give as many prestigious jobs we can to unqualified black and brown people. You know, as long as a white guy doesn't get it, that's really all that matters here. So looking at this, we had to have a fairly brief interaction with a director of purchasing, procurement sort of thing. So this was to confirm, you know, if you like, a procurement order that we were getting, and that we just had to sort of confirm a few details. So we thought we could just do this online or send an email or something. But the recently appointed Indian director of procurement insisted on seeing us, and that now the attitude of these people straight away is, again, I've done a vast amount of international business traveling, so I know the way the Indians behave in the business circumstances, and they it's an incredibly corrupt society. You can't even take a shit without having to bribe somebody. And it's called generically, it's called bakshish. And government employees, because their salary is so low, or anyone in a position to approve something that you want, the government employee, or again any employee in that situation, they create a situation where there's a technical, very very micro technical issue that they can't process your request, they can't give you what you want. There's nothing they can do because of this micro detail. And that's how the Indians sort of interact, and that's the trigger for you paying a bribe, or grovelling. Now in Australia, given that the bribe situation is far less than it is in India, then they demand the grovelling, but they do it reflexively and automatically. I'm not even sure they know they're doing it actually, but they do this. So we were summoned to her to do something which had actually already been agreed with the CEO. I mean, we didn't actually need that. We were doing it more as I suppose, a courtesy than anything. But she wanted to turn it into you have to grovel, otherwise I won't sign off on this. Because again, bribery doesn't happen here anywhere near the scale it does in India. So if not the bribe, then the groveling. Show me some respect, you damn white boy, you colonial. So we muttered a few sort of things, but she clearly wanted to keep it going so she could extract more groveling, which is very unprofessional, by the way, and very chip on shoulder and insecurity and all that sort of thing. So anyway, that passed by, but out of sheer interest, as the talking was going on, it was very plain that she wasn't even remotely qualified for the job. So obviously it was an affirmative action hire. But so I did a bit of digging just out of academic interest, exactly how unqualified was she, and I imagine pretty seriously unqualified. But here she comes, and we had a subsequent sort of chat to the EVP. Is very much on board with all this woke stuff. Little flaky flunky he's white guy. But he gushes about all the lesbians they've hired and that type of thing at this place, and he was gushing about her, and she's so non-white, and she's diversity, and you just get, and he's carrying on like some fucking school kid in a candy shop or something. It was pathetic, but so I did it personally. I don't like sort of to involve my colleagues in. I don't like to talk about sort of my views or concerns necessarily unless they come up organically. So I did some checking. Now she's from India, and she's not from one of the cities, one of the smaller, I suppose you call it a smaller city, where there's a small Brahmin class that's in charge, which she's part of, and then there's the sort of the hoi polloi, and it's very class-ridden, caste-type society. You got the Brahmins sitting at the top like demigods, really just effectively, in my view, at least stealing from everyone else to give themselves this sort of demigod lifestyle. So she works for a family business. Now her father's an influential politician and shaker mover there, so or part of his family. I don't think he's the politician. And so they've got a monopoly business in the region. Everyone has to be self-employed there. It's a mark of prestige. So she's got a job in the family business. So she had no competitive hiring process. She's got a degree from a corrupt, 99th tier university where you'd bribe the fucking lecturer anyway to give you the pass, give you the degree. So. And she works for a monopoly where anyone who wants to buy, those goods in that area must go to this business. So it's not like you need to know what you're doing, and they just interact with other demigod Brahmins. So here's someone who's got really no work experience, no business experience, never had to compete to get anything or achieve anything or get anything, and so wants to come to Australia. So okay, she comes here as a skilled migrant. Fuck knows why or how. I don't know how those skills can be considered as useful. But there was no reference checking. What would you reference check? That she worked for the family business, that she bribed the lecturer to get the degree, that they work in a monopoly. Now, it's obvious just looking at the little bit of information you can find it online. It's obvious that this person has never actually had a job. They've just swanned around looking important and prestigious in a family-owned business that has a monopoly. So what has she achieved? Yet she's given the director of procurement in a decent-sized organisation over the tops of all the white applicants that would have come in solely for affirmative. We need a brown female in this role. Now, I refuse to believe that she's the best qualified that could have been found, whether it be among brown people or not. That this is the best. But there was the point I'm getting here is there was no reference check on her. There was effectively no background checking. In 5 minutes online, I could find out a whole lot more than they seem to know or even care about. But they didn't seem to care. Now, the other thing that this VP guy mentioned was that that they were concerned about the amount of white people that as he saw it, or he claimed that the HR had uncovered that I don't know, the 45-year-old white guy says that he got a high distinction in his degree at university, when really he didn't get a high distinction. He only got a distinction, not a high distinction. The fucking liar. It just shows what a white supremacist fucking Nazi he is. The difference between distinction and high distinction. Got him, the lying fuck. And that's enough but you've got to be quite a rigorous, that's quite a rigorous background check. This is a guy who would have got a degree, I don't know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, but they're prepared to go back that far to try and find something that was inconsistent in his claims. Now, the rigor and the effort and the energy put into disqualifying very well qualified white applicants, they're prepared to go back until the white guy was born, for Christ's sakes. They're prepared to go back and be very rigorous. They're determined to find something, anything they can use to disqualify the white guy, but will do either a very soft reference check or none at all on the the black-brown applicant. Now, I don't know why you'd bother doing, because they did a rigorous check on this Indian lady who was gifted the affirmative action role, which she's not even minimally qualified for, and there would have been thousands of better qualified candidates. Yet she's being hired into a prestigious, quite well-paid role. Like, it pays 3.5 times the average wage, so it's not enough to really get ahead big time in Sydney, but gee, it's not bad. It'll put you in the top sort of 2% of income earners in the country. So that's how well paid and prestigious the job is, and it's being gifted to somebody who is again not even minimally qualified. But they achieved this apart from the quota system that designated this job had to go to that. They purposefully and willfully and aggressively disqualified all the qualified, very well qualified white candidates to ensure or go through this theatrical pretense that this brown woman, who is comprehensively unqualified, actually got the job on some form of merit. Now, this sort of methodology, as far as I can see, is becoming more and more widespread as every day goes by. It's wokeism on triple steroids and speed. It's hysterical. It's out of control. The amount of people we're coming across that day to day that we wouldn't dream of hiring. I mean, you wouldn't get them to sweep the floor, some of these people, and here they are in these quite well paid, prestigious roles. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.